In an often disconnected, haphazard world, when everything around us seems to fall apart and life becomes meaningless, it is the power of food that connects us with a deeper soul, and slowly we find our rhythm. And all this happens unconsciously. A bowl of food brings back memories, connects to our favorite melodies, lifts our spirits, and brings back that smile. The world becomes friendly again. We feel connected. Food, music, memories, love, life, the dots just connect. I survive, we survive, and the world survives. This is Kolkata, for some, still Calcutta, the intellectual and cultural capital of India. Calcutta became a major center for trade and commerce as it became the first capital of the English East India Company. Other than the English, there were the Jews from Baghdad, Greeks, Portuguese, Chinese, Armenians, and Parsis who flocked into the city and made it their home. The soul of the city lies deep within its love for art, literature, adda, food, and passionate political discourse. We are on Decker's Lane, a 200-year-old narrow street at the heart of the busy business district of Kolkata. named after Philip Milner Decker, who was once the collector of the city. Over the last 6 decades, these dimly lit, not so well maintained eating houses with hardly any seating areas have taken over the responsibility of feeding the city and its hungry office goers. They have become the pillars of food security for the mobile and working class and an integral fabric of the city's urban infrastructure. They are institutions of their own right.
So this is ghugni, a versatile staple in Bengal consumed across breakfast, lunch, and even as a snack. Dry yellow peas, soaked and then cooked in a broth resembling a curry, mildly spiced, flavorful, garnished with freshly chopped onions, and of course, green chilies. This is a classic at Chitto Babu's Dokan. This fan-favorite bowl of ghugni comes along with a slice of toast on the side. Thick, soft bread with a lavish spread of butter, black pepper, and a whole lot of love sprinkled on top. A 60-year-old establishment that continues to dish out some classic bowls like ghugni, chicken and mutton stew, khichdi, without any diversion from their age-old recipes. Kolkata has a deep and interesting connection with China, their people, cuisines, and culture. China was a very different country back then, ravaged by war, and the cruelty inflicted upon them by the imperial powers forced many Chinese to move out of their country. Their migration into Kolkata started as early as 1820. Taimei, the oldest Chinese school in the country, was set up by the Chinese settlers with an aim to preserve their language, culture, and heritage. They also managed printing presses, which published daily news in Mandarin, ran tanneries, set up special crematoriums, and built Chinese Kali Temple, where noodles, chop suey, and Chinese-style fried rice are served as bhog, an offering to the goddesses. A great testimony of two very diverse cultures coming together as one. This is Alfred, a third-generation Chinese in Kolkata. A chef by profession, although he does not like being called one, he prefers himself to be called a cook. Alfred and his family have been running 3 well-known restaurants in Kolkata.
I didn't study much. I was in St. Xavier's, 2 years only. Even in school, ऐसे में तभी हम लिखा था, I want to become a cook.
Great. I was lucky that I grew up in Singapore, so I could experience a lot of food from China, from Malaysia, Indonesia, India, obviously. So it's interesting for me to ask in terms of what your influences are. You know, when you cook today, because obviously one part of your father, where you come from. What were the things? What did you eat when you were growing up? What was a daily sort of food that you guys had at home?
At home, my mom cooked.
Your mom cooked. Yeah.
Home food.
Home food.
Simple.
Chinese from Hakka.
Hakka food. Chinese.
Okay. Do you think there's a lot of influence of your mother's cooking in your cooking today?
बचपन से खा के आया, तो अभी तक वही खा रहा हूँ. Still having steamed chicken, steamed fish, tofu, mapo tofu.
Mapo tofu.
You like it?
Of course, love it. Why would I not like it? It's amazing. What about your customers? Is that something?
No,
do you think they like the same?
No, the food here is different. Totally different from the Hakka home food.
How is it different?
the Bengali people, the Muslim people here, Indian people here, they want fried, spicy.
So how do you design your menu when you think about that?
वो कस्टमर सिखा देता है एक्चुअली कस्टमर ही हम लोग को सिखा देता है झाड़ नहीं ऐसा और झाड़ बना मोर स्पाइसी तो वो सब करते करते वी पुट मोर स्पाइसेस तो दे स्टार्ट लाइकिंग तो ये ठीक है ये खाना ठीक है
It's Chinese Indian. And when you are talking about food in a bowl, because we are obviously exploring, life, menu, food, everything in a bowl. And I know that there's a lot of influence from China about eating in bowls. It's a very typical, normal thing. Tell me a little bit about you and the food that you eat liking out of a bowl, and what life in a bowl is for you.
Simple, steamed rice.
Steamed rice?
Some soup. Chinese green, steamed chicken or fish, and some fried spring chicken or chili chicken using chopstick.
So we've got a bowl here. This is chicken hakka noodles.
Yeah.
And spring chicken with some pak choy. Yeah. All straight into a bowl. Very nice. Sorry. Very good. This is traditional Hakka food then. Brilliant.
Look at this closely. The power of intellect, creativity, and high decimal political addas are all hidden deep inside this head. The origin of Bengali identity starts right here. In Bengal, some of the deepest relationships of life, like birth, death, and marriage, are forged over fish. If vegetarian ever became a category between vegetarian and non-vegetarian in any of the best restaurants, there has to be a Bengali behind it. So we attempt to build our first bowl with traditional Bengali recipes in a typical Bengali household where the best chefs are always the Takuma, the Mas, Mashi, Pishis, all rolled into one. It's the perfect combination of rich heritage, recipes passed across generations, combined with skills honed over decades and garnished with an abundance of love. Which makes it incomparable with any other bowls one may have had on the face of this earth. So here we have our bowls. Prawns marinated in mustard paste, chopped tomatoes, chili and coriander leaf, rolled and stuffed inside bottle gourd leaves, and then deep fried. For the second bowl, we have doi mach, a classic Bengali dish. Rui fish cooked in yogurt and a range of spices, rich, aromatic, sweet and sour gravy. Both bowls are served with rice, moong dal, fritters and a dash of mango chutney.
This is Chef Sharafat Ali, one of the most credible faces of Awadhi cuisine in the city. He's currently the head chef of Aminia, a legendary Awadhi restaurant brand which started its operations way back in 1920. Sharafat had an extremely humble beginning. His father, who worked as a personal butler in one of the English households at the Park Mansions, had a large family of 10 children, and quite often he struggled to make ends meet. The situation forced Sharafat to start supporting the family when he was barely 10 years old. Sharafat washed cars, sold hats, whistles and balloons during Christmas on the footpath of Park Street, before moving to Sky Room, a legendary restaurant in Kolkata, as a dishwasher. His hard work and commitment earned him the role of Masalchi, a title that was used to describe a kitchen helper, and in no time, he started moving up the ranks. He took his cooking inspiration from his father and moved across oceans, sand dunes, busy highways and narrow lanes of various Indian cities and the Middle Eastern countries, and in the process, he explored and learned food like no other. Jao bhat, broken leftover rice, a little spice, salt and water. Perhaps the only ingredients she could have managed those days to prepare a meal for a large family. Today Sharafat improvises his mother's recipe by adding cream, diced chicken, vegetables and a few exotic spices. The years have passed by and Sharafat has grown into a very fine chef, mastered various recipes, but has not forgotten the humble bowl, the hunger savior of a young boy. Stories of his childhood days, struggles, and the memories of his mother all come alive as he puts final garnishes on the bowl. Awadhi cuisine has deep-rooted connections with Kolkata. Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab of Awadh, was exiled to the city by the English East India Company after cruelly annexing his kingdom. The king was a man of very fine taste, a great patron of art, music, dance, and of course food. His large entourage not only included musicians, nautch girls, animals, but also khansamas, cooks, whose job was not only to keep the king happy, but also to ensure that his image stayed intact within his entourage and guests as far as gastronomic fanfare was concerned. All this in spite of the British Raj continuing to tighten his purse. Over the last 250 years, biryani, with its famous egg and aloo, kebabs and risalas, became a household name in Kolkata. It owes its rightful obsonance to the king and his extremely talented band of khansamas. We are at Aminia, a legendary chain of restaurants which continues to keep the history and charm of Awadhi cuisine alive over the past 100 years.
Aminia was started by my great-grandfather Abdul Rahim, and he first started in Zakaria Street. That was our first outlet in 1929. So our family background is basically from this small village near Lucknow, which is called Daryabad. So our entire family migrated from there to Calcutta, and with that they brought in the Mughlai food to Calcutta. And one thing was that, like Mughlai food is generally spicy. Like Awadhi food is like on the spicier side. So what he did was he, reduced the spice levels in the food to cater to the local market, because locals, they didn't like very spicy food. They wanted like slightly lighter food. So that was his role. He made his variation of Mughlai food, and that's how Amania took off in Zakaria Street. And he had two sons, my grandfather and my grandfather's brother, Abdul Qayyum and Muhammad Amin. So they began to expand Armenia, and after that they opened Armenia in SN Banerjee Road New Market, which he opened on 15th August 1947. So it shares its birthday with the country, and so like that's one of our largest outlets, the 250 seater. So he carried forward the same recipes that his father started in that outlet. And after that, in 1998-99, we started Southern Armenia, that's Armenia Gold Park, and that was started by his children, which is my father and my father's brothers. And ever since then, we've been expanding constantly. So now we have like 10 branches, and we still serve the recipes that were made by my great grandfather. The biryani maybe slightly changed, but the base of it is the same. The masalas are still the family secret, and we have many dishes like the Armenia special, the pasanda kebab, the firni. All these are my great grandfather's recipes, and they have been unchanged over the years. Some kebabs from Lucknow, the galauti, the kapri kebab, we started all those that weren't there at that time.
Books play a huge role in the life of a Bengali, especially if you're born and brought up in Kolkata. If you haven't traveled down the Boipara of Kolkata, then you surely have missed out on one of the most important parts of the city. It hosts bookshops, publishing houses, and the iconic coffee house, which was the nerve center of the Bengali intelligentsia for a very long time. The inception of Coffee House could be traced back to 1876. It was named after Prince Albert Victor of Wales and was known as Albert Hall. Shortly after independence, though, the name was changed to Calcutta Coffee House. Intellectuals, poets, artists, filmmakers, activists with the likes of Satyajit Ray, Ritik Ghotok, Mrinal Sen, Amartya Sen, Sunil Ganguly, Shakti Chatterjee, Soumitra Chatterjee used to throng in this place. The list is honestly endless. They all had their favorite corners. These giants of the Bengali intelligentsia actually sat amongst ordinary people, drank from regular cups, and dressed like any other Bengali bhadralok. At times they broke into poetry or a song or even to a charged political discussion. Something which is so rare these days, in the age of media-made celebrity, stars and all the other intricacies that come along with it. This is honestly a unique place. This is perhaps one of the few places in the world where you could shout on the top of your voice and say, "Hey, money, I have defeated you with my love for poetry, music, and literature." We meet Arnab Shaha, a celebrated poet, writer, intellectual, and also a serious political commentator.
যেটা অলসো যেটা আপনি বললেন
in the first few years, even before politics, ওইটার মধ্যেও change এসেছিল because of your reading abilities. It was not education per se, it was reading what you read. And after reading, it then moved on to politics. So your second change in writing came
That was the second change. And I think that was the catalyst. That was the catalyst. That politics changed my life, politics changed my worldview, and politics changed my poetry also. Okay.
Did you realize that? Sorry, did you realize that politics is changing your worldview at that point? Or is it now more in hindsight?
No.
Actually, when you look back?
আমি তখনই বুঝতে পারতাম যে আমার ব্যাপারটা চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাচ্ছে এবং তখন ওই হোয়াট ইজ টু বি ডান এন্ড হোয়াট ইজ নট টু বি ডান এটা তৈরি হচ্ছিল ভীষণভাবে
ইউনিভার্সিটিতে আপনি পড়াশোনা করে
একদম বেসিক্যালি ওয়াজ উইথ পোয়েট্রি এবং যাদের সঙ্গে মিশতাম তারা সবাই কবিতা লিখত সামাও তারা প্রত্যেকেই কবিতা লিখতো, ম্যাগাজিন বের করতো, লিটল ম্যাগাজিন বের করতো। এই কালচারটার সঙ্গে তখন আমরা ইনভলভ হয়ে গেছি, পুরোপুরিভাবে ইনভলভ হয়ে গেছি। 1994, 95, 96
talk a little bit about the culture of the region, Bengal, and we know through history the influence of intellectuals, not only in Bengal but across the country, across the globe. But would I be wrong in saying that there's a dearth of that level of intellectual and that scale over the last, say, 28-30 years?
এটা এক কথায় অ্যাকচুয়ালি এরকম উত্তর হয় না। এর উত্তরটা দুদিক থেকে দিতে হবে। একটা আমার যেহেতু আমি খানিকটা পার্সোনাল মানে আমার লেখালেখি বা কাজ নিয়ে কথা বলছি, তাই কালচারাল চেঞ্জটা খানিকটা নিজের ভিতর থেকে। এক নম্বর, আমি নিজেকে বদলালাম বা নিজের বদলটা আমি কী করে দেখছি, নিজে কী করে দেখছি, এটা একটা। আর একটা হচ্ছে আমার চারপাশটা কীভাবে বদলে যাচ্ছে। আমি অলরেডি একবার একটা কথা বলেছিলাম, সেটা হচ্ছে যে আর্লি 90s যে সময় এই গ্লোবাল ক্যাপিটালিজমের ধাক্কা আমাদের এই বাংলা কালচারে আসছে, সেই সময় থেকে কিন্তু আমার চারপাশটা বদলে যাচ্ছে। এবার এই বদলটা চোখে পড়ছে কেন? চোখে পড়ছে এই কারণে, from the late 60s to the early 70s, a total Bengali generation was ruined by the Bolshevik movement. ওই সময় একটা টোটাল জেনারেশন ধ্বংস হয়ে গিয়েছিল।
And that you mean that in the sense that they were killed, they were murdered,
they were murdered, they were killed. এবং that was a lacuna, there was a gap, a huge gap emerged at that time. এবং সেই ফাঁকা জায়গাটা আমরা ফুলফিল করতে পারি। বাঙালি বেসিক্যালি লেফটিস্ট, ফ্রম 19th century বাঙালি লেফটিস্ট। বাঙালি কিন্তু বেসিক্যালি লেফটিস্ট। বাঙালি সবসময় র্যাডিক্যাল, বাঙালি সমস্ত সময় অ্যান্টি এস্টাবলিশমেন্ট। বাঙালি সেই গিরোজিয়ার সময় থেকে, গিরোজিয়া যখন মুভমেন্ট করেছিল সেই সময় থেকে, ইয়ং বেঙ্গল মুভমেন্ট, সেই সময় থেকে আরম্ভ করে বঙ্কিম থেকে আরম্ভ করে রবীন্দ্রনাথ থেকে আরম্ভ করে তারা প্রত্যেকে কিন্তু এস্টাবলিশমেন্টের বিরুদ্ধে। তারা নিজেরা পরবর্তীকালে এস্টাবলিশমেন্ট হয়েছে, কিন্তু তাদের মেজর যে ওয়ার্ক সেটা দাঁড়িয়ে আছে এক ধরনের অ্যান্টি এস্টাবলিশমেন্টের মধ্যে দিয়ে। যে পৃথিবীতে সোভিয়েত নেই, কমিউনিজম নেই, লেফটিজম নেই, কোনো ইউটোপিয়া নেই, কোনো ড্রিম নেই, স্বপ্ন নেই, এই যে টোটালি ভয়েজ তৈরি হচ্ছে, একটা বিরাট বড় ভয়েজ তৈরি হচ্ছে। আমরা সেই ভয়েজের সন্তান, আমরা সেই ভয়েজের মধ্যে দাঁড়িয়ে লেখালেখির কথা ভাবতে শুরু করছি। আমরা তখন ভাবছি কীভাবে আমরা হাতে খুঁজে বার করার চেষ্টা করছি যে আমরা কীভাবে নতুন সিনেমার জন্ম দেবো, আমরা কীভাবে নতুন লেখা তৈরি করবো, আমরা কীভাবে নতুন উপন্যাস লিখবো, আমরা কীভাবে নতুন গল্প লিখবো, নতুন কবিতা লিখবো।
Nostalgia is the word which in many ways best describes Kolkata. Though the British may have left the city decades ago, one still feels a sense of a Victorian hangover looming large over those huge, old, dilapidated buildings, narrow alleys, wooden stairways, and trampoles. Kolkata has experienced events which very few cities in India can claim to have bear witness to. This was the final resting place of all those soldiers, sailors, civil servants, writers, and many other nobles who once called the city their home. Some came in search of new adventure, few as visitors, and others to fulfill duties and obligations to their company or monarch. One's understanding of Kolkata and its history won't be complete without paying a visit to the South Park Street Cemetery. Sir William Jones, the founder of the Asiatic Society, Henry Louis Vivian de Rosio, the outstanding teacher and the pioneer of the Young Bengal movement, Colonel Charles Hindu Stewart, the army man who built a temple and married a Hindu woman to demonstrate his love for Hindustan, Major General John Garstin, the man who built the town hall of this beautiful city, Rose Aylmer, the lady who was in love with the English poet Walter Savage Landor, Elizabeth Jane, the charming and mischievous daughter of Colonel Sanderson, and many others. They are all lying here, in this very place. A large number of them died very young. Tropical diseases like cholera and malaria snatched away their precious lives. You get tremendously moved by thinking about these people. Their unfulfilled dreams, wishes, unspoken love, unsung songs, which were rubbed off in these gravestones. However, even after 250 years, the memories of the people on the backs of which this city was built have not faded away.
This is Pradeep Paul, a very successful marine engineer whose profession has seen him travel the globe. A Singapore passport holder, having lived there for almost 30 years before deciding to move back closer to his roots in Kolkata. Today he runs a variety of businesses headquartered out of the city and is also the owner of Koshe Koshe, a very popular chain of restaurants serving authentic Bengali food. Pradeep Da, as he is fondly called, is also known for his passion for food and travel and unfailing love for the city.
Why come back to Kolkata after all of those years, having spent outside of the city?
I would say that was a calling from inside. I love Kolkata from inside. No matter whatever it is, a lot of things I don't like about Kolkata, but a lot of things you get in Kolkata you don't get anywhere in the world. The love, the genuine feeling, those sort of things you don't get anywhere. Say sometimes small things which make things look very small, but it turns it brings a lot of joy to your thing. Like I remember I used to have 15 paise, out of which 5 paise I used to buy something to eat halfway, and 10 paise I used to have something like, aloo kaburi and ghugni and those things. I can still feel it in my mouth. Beautiful things, and I still, those are memories which I just can't forget. And those are small things, but I think great feelings. I've seen people carrying, food in tins and carrying across, shouting in the streets. Then I've seen people coming with a little bit of sophisticated with platters, sandwiches and all. And all these, then you had ghugni walas. So all those and the beautiful ways they used to call across, those are beautiful memories which are probably gone nowadays. I can't say gone, but you don't hear it. But I think those were beautiful memories. So if you know there was this ghugni wala calling, you know it's a 5 o'clock.
So you used to relate their calling with time?
Time. I could relate it with time.
Anything else you want to talk about the city in general that you want to describe?
This is, no matter what people say, it's a great city. It's not a city, whether you see dirt or poverty or anything, it's a human being that makes this city. The amount of warmth that you see, like I'm saying, the fuchka wala, that is the pani puri fellow, Golgappa guy, that I go. Even if today I go, he calls me, he gives me 3, for 10 rupees we get 4 Golgappas. He gives me 3 of 3 different sizes, and the last one is with water, the thing, and they're all different. And he makes it, where in the world did you go? Fucker doing that to you. And doing with so much of love. These are few things of the city which I admire and I respect, and that is what you call the call of Calcutta. These are small things and which matters to me. And I think every Kolkata who love this place in its true sense calls it for these things.
After a hard day's toil, when this man finally manages to sit down with his leaf bowl stuffed with puffed up puri and shobji, the whole world, in a way, comes together. They feel happy for him. They feel happy that he could finally break bread and enjoy his meal. In all the gloom and darkness, there is still an underlying spirit of kindness which exists deep within our souls. Perhaps it is these fleeting moments when they come together as one, smashing all boundaries to celebrate all the goodness and kindness of this world. In Kolkata, we have layered our bowls with food, art, nostalgia, and some great conversations. Adda. But perhaps the most important ingredient of this bowl are the people of this city. and their unfailing warmth, love, and friendship. Even after 350 years, through all the trials and trepidations, the soul of the city has still remained intact. Some things are best kept if they are well left alone.